we hereby call this meeting of the Fan Ghouls Club to order. I'm Hayley.
I'm Brielle.
Hi, Brielle.
Hi. This is book club.
Book club.
This week we read chapters 100 through 111.
Whew.
And it is our second to last chapter chunk. So the next, after tonight, we are going to read the last chunk.
The rest of the series.
And then we're all done.
Oh, I'm like dreading it.
I know we've like elongated it so much that I don't feel like it's gonna. I feel like this is the rest of my life. I'm gonna be reading this book.
I know I would still feel sad, like if I had read everything like at a normal pace.
Yeah.
Because also we did the tandem read very slowly as well.
Yeah, that took a while.
Faster than me because I used to be ahead of you a little bit in the books. The tandem read took me forever.
Yeah.
Now I'm glad that it did.
I know.
I don't want to leave this like world and
I know it's
all
gonna
of
be
our
all
friends.
done.
Or will it?
We shall see.
I'm also just sort of like the optimist in me is like, well, especially now that you've reminded me that it's been almost 4 years, almost 5 by the time it comes out. Like, is like this big thing that now we believe is coming, like, is it taking that many more books of different series to like tie it all together? Is there going to be, we haven't read the end, but we can expand on it next time.
We only have like 100 pages.
Will there be more Throne of Glass? In
a
some
lot
capacity.
of people, because when she did that Instagram post, she's like going up north.
Yeah, to Terracin.
And in the picture was a bunch of snow and pine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everyone was like, okay, obviously we think she's writing ACOTAR 6, but the whole post seemed very Throne Glassy. Now
that I know Aelin and how she wrote Aelin,
yeah,
I'm like, and you know, there's some Taylor Swift level of like Easter eggs and like world tie-in.
Maybe she's probably taken a note.
Yeah, I mean, I
Swiftie.
think so.
Yeah,
it's just, I just can't wait to see, because we've just had this glimmer of what that could look like.
Do you think that's why like bookish people are so almost always so into Taylor Swift too?
Absolutely.
Does it like go hand in hand of like because of how like Easter eggy she is, and like
I think as someone who like
it's all just so
has learned that's something to live for, like literally, like knowing that I'm alive and I can look forward to more like Taylor Swift Easter eggs and schemes
of everyone freaking out based on the color dress that she wears at a certain award show.
Yeah, it's the same high reading this and like all these schemes that Aelin has up her sleeve and all the connections that are made from the very beginning to the prequel of Assassin's Blade to now. And it's like, what does in this whole universe, as she calls it, like,
I mean, now we know they're all three of them are clearly connected, so
I know
that's exciting.
Anyway, so now we've got tie-in to ACOTAR from this book, tie-in to ACOTAR from Crescent City. ACOTAR is going to have to at least mention something or write. Is it because Crescent City and Throne of Glass both only reference ACOTAR so far?
So is ACOTAR like the
setting?
Well, because people are also speculating that Silver Flame, since it has that design on the cover.
And the different, have you seen the one up? You go first. The design on the cover, I'm just all excited.
Like the, whatever, it looks like smoke.
Yeah.
Or something. Flames, I guess. Silver flames.
Smoke.
Smoke
goes with flames.
I guess so. That everyone's like speculating because it's the start of like something else. So it's a little bit
a kindling.
So like maybe flames.
And also Nesta we didn't see many, right? Flame, yeah.
Very little.
I just remember thinking that throughout the book, like, flames, like, why
Where's
name
the
it this?
fire?
Anyway.
Only when she was like possessed by whatever. Because remember, it was a classic nightmare scene. She woke up and she was like floating above the bed, and, like, covered in silver flames, and Cassian's like
covered in flames.
Yeah, but like otherwise, when she was like conscious and like fighting, she never like used fire or flames or anything.
This is interesting. I'm just thinking about things. I'm just trying to desperately trying to connect all of this.
So you don't have to say goodbye to them. Our cups.
Yeah.
Aren't they so cute?
I had mentioned last week that I went to Target to try and find these. You did.
They're so sweet.
Unlimited. If you couldn't tell, we are wearing our Elphaba and Galinda green and pink.
I got the new Airy t-shirt.
Okay, yeah. Fangirl moments of the week.
It's good to see me, isn't it?
It's so cute.
And then her face is on the back. And I needed this one. It was very hard to decide, but I needed this one because I have two popular shirts from the musical. Mm-hmm. The very classic original Broadway one, and then one of the t-shirt designs that came out when they started doing the tours. Mm-hmm. So I have both of those. I've 15 plus years ago. Crazy. I've had them. So I feel like I needed another, like, it doesn't say popular technically anywhere, but it's the Glinda pink t-shirt, and I was like, I feel like I kind of need it because I already have both versions from original and tour, so I needed movie. I'm
excited to see what merch, and the movie will put out itself, because I don't think we've seen any of that yet.
What, in like Target or like a store, you mean?
Or if they'll sell any, I don't know, like.
I want to see the popcorn bucket. I love that popcorn buckets are a thing now.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It's so random.
And it's something I was like, I always justify buying it being like, oh, so useful. I'll use this all the time. And
I've never used it.
I've never used my Taylor Swift one.
Did
I love
she start the popcorn bucket trend?
Well, yeah, I mean.
At least now, like, nowadays.
I think she was the first. Well, she was the first one we wanted. I think they do it for kids' movies a lot more.
Mm. But now, like, every big blockbuster,
that everyone wanted.
Well, like Deadpool, Wolverine, and I've seen like almost every movie now is having them.
Inside Out 2 had some cute stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's exciting because like COVID took away. All of the movies,
going
and now
to the
I
movies,
feel like the experience is way back.
Yeah,
it's totally back.
It's really nice. Mm-hmm. I've been to the movies more the past 3 years than I feel like I ever was in my whole life.
I know.
Everyone was worried that movie theaters were going to close down.
That would have been really sad.
I know.
We've had so many fun times in our reclining seats.
I refuse.
In the absolute dark and the freezing cold.
We went to a movie last week that didn't have the recline. I felt like I was sitting like, and every time I moved, I went, and I was like, oh God, I was like, what is this theater?
My goodness.
I need my reclining seat and I need my blanket.
It's the best feeling ever.
I found popcorn in my purse this morning from last week.
That's about right. There's always like a leftover M&M or something.
What did you fangirl over this week?
Anyway, I love your shirt. And the second I saw the pink one, I was like, oh, Brielle's definitely going to get this one above all of it.
Because I love it.
Oh, I fangirled over. So Taylor Swift is back. Taylor Swift.
Where did she go?
Taylor Swift's football era is back.
Yes, it is.
As football has begun, and the Chiefs are playing again. I called them the Chiefs. I know.
The footballs is back.
The sports. Anyway, so obviously Travis Kelce plays for the Chiefs, and so Taylor Swift's been going to the games again, as she did last year, and I've been fangirling over this year's outfits. They're so good.
Her little bow this week.
This week especially, I died over her because she's like never worn her hair half up like that. Oh my God, with like her big bangs like sweeping out and like the perfect half up style, which I'm so excited about. She's gonna bring that back. Now that she's done it, it's gonna come back.
I like that she did a cutesy little bow, because at New York Fashion Week, a couple people were saying like, I saw a bunch of stuff of
too many bows.
Yeah, like I think everyone was like, I think bows are out. I think bows are on their way out. And then Taylor Swift shows up in a bow, and I guarantee you bows will not be out. It's going to be big this fall now because Taylor Swift wore a bow.
Hell yeah. Oh my God. And the big like jersey dress and the like thigh high patent leather boots.
She kills it every time.
It was the cutest. And so I've just been fangirling over any glimpse.
I just can't handle the fact that she happened to, out of all of these football players and of all the teams and sports and stuff, that she happened to date one that has their main color is red. Like, how did she do that? I'm just saying, because all she ever does is wear her signature red lip, and it's just like,
it's perfect for the Chiefs.
It's just insane that worked out. Because it wouldn't have worked if she was like dating someone on the Dolphins or something. Like,
oh no, Brielle, what was your fangirl moment of the week?
My fangirl moment was at the Emmys. Winnie the Bish. Lorne won his first Emmy for Fargo. Yeah. But I haven't seen him in that yet. So now that he won it, like I haven't watched any Fargo before. So I know that's going to be a whole adventure if I do that.
Cool.
But anyway, that he in his acceptance speech fangirled over Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, yes, I saw this.
And it was like a whirlwind of a moment for me to see him fangirl over RDJ.
Your poster in my house. Could you please sign it? Please.
He said, "Oh, and Robert, wherever you are, I have a poster of you in my house if you could sign it."
That's so awesome.
So I fangirled over him fangirling over my biggest fangirl moment. So
that's really good.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm so proud of him. Which is blasphemy because there's multiple scenes in New Girl that he should have won an Emmy for. Like
you look up any Winston compilation on any media platform, and you will understand that.
Like, and like it wasn't supposed to be that big of a character either. Like he just killed it so bad.
It's him and Steve Harrington, two of the best characters that were never meant to be. Side note, when he got the nomination and the video of him like crying, did you see that? I'll send it to you. And he's sitting with his daughter, and he like gets an email or the call or something, and he like breaks down. It's so sweet.
Oh no.
He was so excited. Okay. Well, we had to get some fun fangirly stuff out of the way before 11 straight chapters of battle.
I feel
and
like the past 5 episodes we've just been like, I don't want to talk about that.
I know. It's always nice to rehash, but oof.
This is pretty thick. Episode 11.
Oh, I thought you said chapter 11, and I was like,
we're going all the way back.
Wow, 11 episodes. Okay.
Right, I'm going to jump in. Is that cool?
That's cool.
Are you sure?
To chapter 100?
100.
Okay.
100. I can't believe we're almost done. Okay. So this is how it starts.
Oh, yeah. Funny.
This was nuts to start the chunk off this way, because for a second I was like, wait, what are we doing? Like, where are we? Like, where were we? Like, it took me a second.
Oh, yeah, because we have just come off of Aylin's.
All the Aylin big chunk.
That's it. Yeah. Closing the gate.
Yeah, the last, like, 6 chapters or something. So, like, I read this, and I was like, oh, wait, it took me a second. So, it starts with...
Back to reality.
Killian kicking Adian awake and being like, it's time... Wake up. And I was like, what is happening?
It's good like it's almost like to us too. That's good.
It felt like, oh, why am I being kicked awake? What's happening? Because we didn't know any of this yet.
Yeah.
But time has passed. And this is showing us that time has passed, and it's been a week since the 13 sacrificed themselves.
Okay.
I shouldn't have said that.
Just keep going.
And so we learn that their sacrifice only gave them a couple days, and they jumped right back into battle. Morath came back, and they've been fighting every single day, and it's now their new routine that Adian wakes Lysandra up every morning, and they just hold each other for very long minutes in the hallway before eating a small breakfast and going back into battle every single day. Anyway, we see a moment in the dining hall that Ansel approaches Manon, and they have kind of a sweet moment, but Manon's like also a little offended, so it's kind of awkward.
Oh yeah.
But that was just funny that she apologizes for her loss, and she's trying to, you can tell she's trying to be nice and saying, if we all survive this, I'm happy to share the wastes with you.
Skirt.
And Manon was like, what are we sharing? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I feel bad because Ansel was trying to be nice. Oh, yeah, neighbors. I felt bad. Yeah. And then this is when Petra also comes up to her, and she tries to convince her to, like, maybe you should rest because you kind of look terrible. And she's like, no one else is resting. Why would I rest? Why am I going to rest? Mm-hmm. She's kind of just snapping on everyone. Mm-hmm. So she refuses. We get a cute little Evangeline POV. I love that she's just become a little main character. Mm-hmm. I know
that moment.
So a Krogan soldier specifically seeks her out because they know to give her the message, so she can deliver it to Darrow. And Evangeline was like so honored. She's like, she knew to seek me out. Like, I'm so important.
She is me and I am her. I'm obsessed.
You should be Evangeline for Halloween.
I know.
It ended up being a message from Bronwyn that a nice big siege tower is on its way, and Murtaugh said, you know what, fuck it. And he went into battle, and Darrow and Evangeline were like, what? And in Evangeline's point of view, she was like, none of the older dudes like ever go into battle, like what is he doing? And then at the end Darrow just says like stupid fool or old fool or whatever he says, and that's basically it.
That was a really good synopsis.
Oh, thank you.
Aiden and Liz.
Aid and Liz.
Aid and Liz is how I write them.
Yeah, them just like holding each other every single morning.
And they have like the nighttime rituals.
They have their nighttime routine too.
It's so sweet. I love how they're just allowing this now. We spent so long with like all the war plus their like fight, and so it's just, at least we get this.
I'm sorry, but why are these two still the two that are like the main people in this war? And like, I get it, sure, but since page 1 we opened up the book to Adian like POV, and they're like, we've been fighting Valg for months now. I mean,
it's an amazing like depiction of war that I've never read before, like
this whole time.
As you were like talking through it, I realized I don't think of war as like they take breaks and they like sleep.
It's so weird to see like, oh, the soldiers are leaving for the night,
and then the bone drums start again in the morning, and I think I've only ever seen depicted like
a battle,
couple days long battle that just goes on,
like the Battle of Culloden.
Yeah. Well, that especially. Absolute shit show. Not, like, never had a chance.
All I think about is Outlander anymore. Okay.
I know. So anyway, and I was gonna say that after talking about Aiden Liz.
Yeah.
How interesting it is.
And it's the only nice thing
this
that
moment
they have.
That they share is nice, yeah. But everything else is scary.
It's the only thing they have to look forward to each day. Like, think of everything Aelin has been through in this whole book.
Yeah.
That whole time, these two have been covered in snow and fighting Valg.
Covered in snow.
Nonstop.
Black blood.
Like, this whole time.
And have gotten injured so many times.
How are they alive?
Liz is probably like,
Liz,
what have I I mean, she's the shapeshifter, so she can shape into things that can fight the way that a creature would fight. But like, thinking of her back in Rifthold, I guess that's the amazing point to her character, is like, she was stuck in this horrible existence.
At least she has something
and now she's like this freaking badass warrior. But it's like, if I were her, I'd be like, I couldn't go to like with the witches or something.
Send me back to Riftold. I don't even care. Like,
I know. And then in Manon's POV, when she's talking about how Abraxas is like alert, but he's looking over like the plane, and he's looking towards where the tower was, and he's looking for Noreen, and Manon's like, talking about how she hasn't stopped looking out there, and yeah, it just got me. Like, it got me again. It's too much to bear. So, okay, yeah, and here's another. I knew that Ansel had some sort of claim over the wastes. Mm-hmm. Because now it's a conflict for us, right? Because we like Ansel. Yeah. But, like, I want Manon to have all of the wastes.
They're going to share.
I don't think I like that.
Well, then where's Ansel going to go? Well, her whole army already got shreked, so...
She's going to have to put on a red cloak is all I'm saying.
She's going to be a witch.
Bend the knee.
Maybe she's gonna live in Skull's Bay with Roll.
Ooh! See?
She'll be a pirate queen.
Ooh! I like that.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay, chapter 101. We're back with Aelin and Rowan and Kale and Dorian. And I think this is right before they go rejoin the rest of the army and the rest of court. Aelin is sort of, in the beginning of the chapter, Aelin's sort of grappling with what she just experienced, and she's like, can't stop thinking about all the worlds that she's seen. And it was such an interesting page of her.
She literally thought, like, she's like, will I be tempted to like try and find them again?
And it's almost like she's got this thought of like, do I want to live if I am always yearning to explore? Right. I wrote it down. I know exactly
what we talked about last week.
Foreshadowing.
I said, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, would that longing to explore take root?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it will.
She doesn't write anything for no reason. So then she faces her squad here, and she apologizes to Dorian about his father. And there's an interesting moment where Dorian is like, yeah, so am I, but he's like touching Damaris as if he's trying to like see for himself if he means that or not. And it's just continuing like confusion for him. So they rejoin they rejoin the court, so it's just Gavriel, Fenris, Lorcan, Alide, and she tells them exactly what happened.
They were all like butthurt.
Yeah.
They didn't tell them they were going.
Yeah, and right, so they didn't know anything in the first place or that they were doing it. Yeah, Alide is like shocked, and Lorcan is like, and you're not human anymore. Mm-hmm. And so she tells them the truth. And they're all just sort of like, well, we're doomed. Let's go tell everybody else.
Come on,
So then they join the rest of the camp, and it doesn't go well. The Royals, yeah, they're scary. So they join with like Sartak, mm-hmm. Nezrin, Hassar, Cashin, and that whole crew. And they like, I guess there's some yelling that happens, and they're all like super pissed and confused and like, well, what does it all mean?
I thought it was funny that we didn't see that scene.
Yeah.
We just jump right into the next like section that was like, well,
mm-hmm.
that could have gone better.
They're just all sort of discussing, right, what does this all mean? Dorian's just trying to like reassure everyone we're just gonna have to find our way through it, because now everyone is aware that Erewhon is still has power, and he's still out there. And Dorian's like, well, we still have magic. Maybe not as much as we did, but, we're going to have to find a way to defeat Erewhon and Maeve. Aelin and Alide have a really nice, like, scene together. They're bathing, and they're just discussing, like...
I love that Alide put together a little girl's spa moment.
It's so sweet.
She's like, let's get naked and take baths together.
I mean, yeah, their relationship is so sweet because they haven't even really spoken much at all. I mean, before Aelin was taken, they had just reunited after all those years, and then Aelin was taken away, and she was obviously traumatized. She didn't talk to Alide much then, and then war happened, and so it's just sort of, it's nice to finally get a scene between them, like the two people besides Adian who understand
The two Terrazin
the most. And, you know, Eli just reassures her, I never cared if you had magic, because Aylin's kind of spilling, like, her guts to her a little bit, which is nice. We don't even see her do this with Rowan much. And so it's really, like, bestie vibes, and it's really sweet. Bort joins them. And
she cracks me up. She, like, kicks the door down.
I've sensed a little, like, flirtiness between Aylin and Bort since they met. Respected each, like, instant respect kind of thing, and just sort of, like, playful between them.
When did they first
They're very
meet?
similar, I think.
Was it this book? Or was
it was when
it had to have been, because it's after
united with Kale and Anielle.
Because we talked about it whenever they first met. We instantly both said, "Oh, they're gonna get along." Like they're both just very stubborn and crack jokes. Yeah, but are very intense and loyal people.
I know, and I love their little relationship too. I like that she showcased these two relationships in here, like her and her closest, like, gal pals, kind of. It's fun. So Aylin
because she still hasn't seen those two.
I know.
They still haven't seen everyone yet. They don't even know that Aylin is.
I know. They still think she could be dead or in captivity. Like, they have no idea what's going on in the outside.
I can't
outside the battle.
Anyway, sorry.
No, it's all good. After Bort and I hate calling her that. We don't know. Borte sounds stupid.
Bort.
I'll just say Bort. So Bort clearly has so much respect for Aylin, and I think while the others in the royal party sort of doubt Aylin now, Bort, like, only respects her more, I think. And she offers to lead Aylin's flank when they enter into battle at Orinth. Aylin's like, I hadn't even gotten that far of, like, who's going to ride with me, and Bort, like, insists. And then the snowstorm starts. But there's a little cute moment when Aylin and Eli, like, smile at each other. And they're like, it's a northern
Terrazin.
And everyone else is like, oh, God. No. The storm was super heavy. It was really slowing them down. They're having to kind of walk the rocks. And ultimately, the royal party is like, okay, well, we're going to have to just keep going. I think before this, Aylin was unsure if they were going to, like, continue on with them because they were so mad about the outcome of the word gate. And so now, like, all of them are agreeing, well, we've made it this far. We just have to keep going. And Sartak especially is, like, has been considering what it's going to mean for him to be Coggin. And he's reassuring them, we have to keep going all the way to the walls. And we swore to do so. And we don't break our promises.
I miss him so much.
Yes. I am sorry that some people may not have been so wrong about parts of Tower of Dawn being a little pointless. It's not pointless to me or in my heart, but I'm also like, give us more.
Yeah, even, like, Nezran's not that big of a character in this book that I thought she would be.
It's crazy because she was one of the main characters of Tower of Dawn. The second main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Kale too, technically, aside from his nice reunions.
What are you talking about?
No.
He's killing it.
I know.
I just miss Sartak.
I know, he's the best. We have over 100 pages until a potential royal, like, just fit in the royal. I mean, I think it's the only thing that could be happier than this has been depressing.
Yeah, I know.
It's the only thing I can think of that'll really bring us
out of all this. They all deserve a fun royal wedding. Like, come on.
That's 101.
101.
Oh.
Yeah, I like that it started off with just, like, Rowan has not let go of Aylin since the moment she came back.
I'm not going to lie. I don't skim Rowan scenes. But I maybe don't pay as much attention in some of the Rowan scenes.
I wish he had anything separate than Aylin. Like,
yeah, it's become that for him.
Yeah, and I don't like that. Oh, I did want to note, though, in this, there's a section in this that Kale and Dorian are, like, kind of throwing shade at Aylin a little bit. And I was like, whoa, boys, all of a sudden you're together again, and like, do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Never underestimate the power of guilt when it comes to Aelin Galathinius. Yeah. Dorian sighed. The fire he'd summoned fluttered. She sealed the word gate, Yrene scowled. The least they could do is at least be grateful for it. Oh, I have no doubt they are, Kael said, frowning now. But the fact remains that Aelin promised one thing and did the opposite. Blah, 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 blah. And Dorian says, typical.
Trying for humor.
And failing. He felt like he gave up a part of him. And then, yeah, he reflects about losing his magic, too. But I just thought it was funny. They were kind of like... If
it weren't in the context of this heavy stuff, I'd be like, this is a cute,
boys,
like, trio moment. Like them poking fun of their bestie. I know. I just want to read those first 2 books just to get that, to understand that more. I miss the
fun simpleness of...
Just silly.
Oh, what is this? What? I cannot handle how many times I love Aelin and Dorian. They're just silly together.
Oh.
And then Dorian was reflecting on losing his magic, losing his dad. He didn't even give himself time to think about it yet. But Dorian knew that whenever he was ready to talk about what happened with his dad, his friend would be waiting.
Yeah.
He knew Cole would be there for him whenever he's ready. I'm just obsessed. And then the moment
they're in love.
Also reflecting that Dorian smiled at something Yrene said, and he adored his friend's wife already. He likely would have married her too if he had the chance. And I said, oh, duh. Was it last week or the week before when Dorian reunited with Aelin and Kael? Mm-hmm. We were confused on why he was kind of sad when he met Yrene. And it's because she's a healer that looks just like Sorsha.
Yeah. You know, I did have that thought when I read that part.
I did not.
And
I was like, why is he so sad?
Well, I just ignored it because I have been thinking, and this is super mean because R.I.P. Sorsha. Like, I loved her at the time, but it's also like, I really need him to get over it.
And all of this has happened within just a year. So Sorsha dying was like a few months ago.
Yes. Now Manon is here. And he thinks about her too. Okay, we're not getting into this because I don't even...
Also, when they're taking girl time, bath time, Elide gives Aelin Silba's ring. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna come in handy.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
The Ring of Power.
The Ring of Power.
Anyway, 102. Chapter 102. I said, oh, damn. Murtaugh's already dead.
I know. Oh. Cried. I really did.
Because it jumps into the chapter and they're like, and they brought in the dead body. And they're like, wait, who died? And then
I'm like, they were just on the battlefield. They gotta have funerals too?
I was like, these people have been battling for like weeks. He goes out for 1 hour and he's already...
Shut up. Oh my God.
I feel so bad.
I know. But he was so brave.
I know. And that's why like Lysandra's mad at all the other lords. Cause like...
Sure. Because...
he's the only one that had the balls to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so they're having a viewing and Adian is holding Ren as he's sobbing.
Oh, Papa.
His grandfather?
Yes.
Or his dad?
Grandfather.
His grandfather?
Yes.
Who's his dad?
Another Allsbrook.
Good answer. I wrote a lot of sad faces.
I know.
But, you know, at least if anything, his death did rally the soldiers.
And Lysandra and Adian.
And it helped them destroy the siege tower.
Yes.
And Aid and Lys have a sad but nice moment. She's wiping away his tears. And he's just so defeated. Like, I can't handle anything else with these two. Like, it's devastating. Anyway, oh my God, this moment was so sweet.
I know.
So she finally kisses him to try and, you know, kiss his grief away.
Comfort him.
And when this war is over, however it may end, I will still be here with you. Whether in this life or the next, Adian.
Their words to each other really are the best, I think. Easily, of all of them.
This is why I think I like them so much. They're very Jamie and Claire.
Oh,
they're intense fighting. Like, yeah. They're both just extremely passionate. Intense people. So their fight was so intense, and they throw these words at each other, but it's just because they're just passionate.
But then, because then when they're real with each other, it doesn't feel like cringy or cheesy, because they like really mean what they're saying.
It's like this, in whether it's in this life or the next, I was like,
it's so sweet. Because sometimes when Rowan and Aelin talk like this to each other, I'm sort of like, it's a little cheesy.
There's something about these two.
Claire and Jamie is a really good comparison.
Maybe that's why I like them so much.
Because we haven't seen this side of them ever. We've never seen this side of them. They've both always been so tough, so kind of like spicy in how they talk. And then they have the giant blow up, like this big giant blow up. No speaking,
but no speaking. But
then they have
looks and the anger
and the urges to help each other, but they don't.
But I'm mad.
It's the best.
I'm obsessed.
From I think lovers, or no, what would that be? Friends to enemies.
Flirty friends
to enemies to lovers.
Yeah. But were they ever enemies?
Yeah, no. But like
even when they weren't speaking, they were by each other's side.
Yeah.
Always looking out for each other. Then they start hardcore making out in the hallway and a soldier walks by.
Yeah.
And then are they like, is this him admitting, like, are they like mates?
Ooh, yeah. This was like super interesting.
Is this a big reveal, or is it just like, well, you're my mate?
This is a question though. Like, he's part Fae, so he could potentially have a mate, and maybe he's always maybe it's another Reese. I'm pointing at Valaris or some shit.
ACOTAR's not there.
It's like
ACOTAR's
he recognizes that, but she might not be able to.
She doesn't know.
Understand, fully grasp it, because she's different. She's a different
Yeah.
What is a shapeshifter? Like, what in this world can they have mates?
I think she's still human.
Yeah. It's interesting.
But yeah, he said my mate.
He did. I think he says it a couple of times in this set of chapters.
No, not prey. Never, that's like, they're so...
Yes.
I love them.
His partner, his mate.
He said mate, and I was like, wait, hold the phone.
Apex Predator. Not Apex Predator. I just started thinking of that Mean Girls song. Started playing in my head.
Regina George. Obsessed. Anyway, so they're all running out of food. And arrows.
Absolutely not.
This is where they bring out the fire lances. We have food for a month at least, maybe. And Captain Rolf, the fire lances are down to the dregs. We'll be lucky if they last through tomorrow.
Woo!
Yay!
I have also said, I know I wrote this note down in a later chapter. The gravity of this too is so heavy because they've said this is it. I'm so tired. Every time they go to battle, they're like, this is it. This is the last night. Every time. And now, like, these chapters here are like saying they're doing this. They're literally doing this every night. They have dinner, and then they're like, well, see ya.
Maybe see you tomorrow.
This is the last breakfast every day.
I know. I would not. Dude, I would just run into the middle.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'd be like the dude in...
No, stop. No, don't say it.
The one with Volturi, dude. In the battle. At Twilight, when he goes, finally.
Finally. Oh, yeah, he's like the tall one. It's like the only thing he says.
The entire series. Anyway, I liked this quick moment of, not that they necessarily replaced her first and second, but it is nice and touching that Manon does have Petra and Bronwyn now.
I know.
She at least has them, and I think it's interesting that they're both from one side.
Yeah.
Croken and or Iron Teeth.
For
and
sure.
It's like, it's the symbol of who she is now, that she has one of these witches from both sides now at her side.
Yeah.
And like, she'll never call them her first or second, obviously. But like, yeah.
I know.
No. But yeah, so they just anticipate that they maybe have 1 or 2 days left with like the supplies and food and everything, and you know, the amount of soldiers they have left. So it's not looking good.
Not looking good at all. Adian, oh yeah, I just noted that he seems to blame himself, or just by like he's weeping and he's saying like I should have been at the Western Wall.
Oh shit, he died at the Western Wall.
Yes, because that's where the first siege tower was seen. So Murtaugh goes to the Western Gate.
So no one ever go to the Western
Don't
Gate.
go to the Western Gate. Chapter 103. Unfortunately, this northern snow that Alide and Hayley are so excited about has halted their army completely, and they're just trying to trudge through. This is where the Rucks are completely grounded. They can't fly because the snow is so thick, and they are not even 50 miles from Orinth's border. Aelin is wishing that she could just like as she could blaze a path through if they ever needed it. It's now. But she can't, and this leaves Rowan kind of wondering, like, he's wondering about her power. Like, she's clearly not talking about it with him. She's not even sure, like, what it all means. Fenris asks, is it always this bad? And both Alide and Aelin, this is when they smirk at each other and they're like, yes.
I just want to see them like, do you want to build a snowman?
Yes, totally. Rest of the court is just starting to think like, well, how much can we really wear ourselves out before we even get there?
Yeah.
We're doomed. Is this going to be possible? We get a little moment where Rowan recounts like a night that he and Aelin had, and it was sort of like
getting her used to her new body.
Yes. He's, doing what he does best.
Let me show you.
We'll say. And so, yeah, that was cute.
That was cute.
Anyway. And then a scout comes to them and they're like, you have to come now. Your Highness, you have to come with us. Your Majesties. All of you have to come. And they go outside the tent and they look out and they see the Lord of the North.
I thought he was like a myth.
Well, she's seen him a couple of times.
Maybe
in dreams or something, but at least I know
she saw him at the end of Assassin's Blade when she was in the thingy getting taken to Endovia, right?
Yes, that is true.
What is he?
He's a stag, and he's large, and he's glowing, and he glows.
But
he's white.
He's like this immortal stag that's been around forever and always? Or like, what is...
He's the symbol of Terrazin.
He's the mascot?
Who only appears to like enter it. Is he like a godlike creature?
That's what, like, what
But wouldn't he have been banished?
Yeah.
Along with... Because he served Brannon, obviously. That's what the end of this chapter is all about. Is like the Lord of the North coming to Aelin and the little folk are with them. Yay! And the little folk, some of my favorite characters in the series, man. Like,
always come through.
They always come back.
Yeah.
They always show up, and you always forget about them, and then they show up to when they need it the most.
Yeah.
And they're there. So I was so excited. I was like, first of all, obviously stoked for the Lord of the North. I was like, thank God. But then I saw that they were there too, and I got even more excited. They're gonna show the army the rest of the way to Orinth.
Like a shortcut or something?
They got a little like shortcut, follow us. But doom is upon Orinth, heir of Brannon, and you must hurry. We'll show you the way, swift and unseen.
It said that they heard the voice of a dryad.
Yeah.
Has this happened? Do we know what that, are we supposed to know what that is? Or is that just in the moment we learn?
But they don't act.
A tree spirit.
Yeah. This is an interesting thing we need to sort of digest a little. Or dissect.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so yes, dryad is this new term.
Yeah.
That we're learning.
Yeah.
Aelin asks what the cost, and the little folk and Lord of the North they're just saying a better world even for us. They all are getting ready to follow the Lord of the North and the little folk north, and Aelin pulls Rowan aside and she's like, I need the books. And so she's like desperately searching for something in the books, and now it seems to be that they have one last Oh, she says, a stupid cow I might be, which is a throwback to what Hussar said about her, but not without options. You're including me in this particular scheme, princess.
That part was so funny.
Aelin smirked. I wouldn't want you to feel left out. So I'm excited to see what this is, because I have no clue.
Something about word marks. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited to see. We finally have another scheme, and he's involved this time. I'm really happy for him.
Me too.
Chapter 104. We're back in Orinth. It has been 5 days.
5 days.
And all of their weapons have run out. They're in the middle of ending a battle. They see the Morris soldiers starting to retreat for the night, going to bed.
Night.
And I liked this line of like barely looking. Adian slammed his ancient shield into like a Valg soldier, and it like fell over.
Yeah.
I could just like picture that. It was funny. So he is on the battle walls, and Adian and Lysandra find each other and they kiss after the battle. And it's the only thing he ever looks forward to every night. And some nights they find a shadowy place
to
just, like make out for a little bit.
Just for a little.
But it was so sad again. It was just like, just to feel something good. What did it say? They didn't do the final
joining.
Because they needed something to still live for.
I know, I wrote that down so quick. I was like, oh my god, no.
So officially all the fire lances are done, and the weapons and the arrows are like all
bye.
Yeah, they anticipate just being defeated tomorrow or the day after, possibly. So, oh god, this moment.
Yeah, this got super heavy super quickly.
Look at all these words. I just had to write down. Okay.
I had to write everything. I know.
Okay, so it ended up being a kind of a beautiful moment, but it was very depressing, as usual. Evangeline and Darrow.
Oh yeah, this is what I'm reading.
So she asks, what happens at the end when we lose? He basically says you either die fighting or you live and have to surrender and serve.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked her, what would you choose? And she was like kind of honored because no one's ever bothered to ask her before. And she gives like the most beautiful answer ever. I guess I like won't go into it, but basically she just says, I would have liked for this to have been my home. I've never had a home before. I've never had a family before, and I would have liked this to be my home.
Mm-hmm.
So I would choose to fight for the home that I always wanted. It's like, how old is she? Like 8, 9? Like, she's little. 10?
She's young, yeah.
So Darrow asked Evangeline to follow him, and he goes and finds Adian and Lysandra, and he gives the Sword of Orinth back to Adian.
About time.
I know. And he kind of apologizes for it and just saying, you've done more than anyone could ever have done to, like, defend this place.
Mm-hmm.
And you deserve it more than anyone. And then he also formally recognizes Caravir and Lysandra as its lady.
Yay!
And any heirs that she would ever bear would, should she live and have any. And she was like, well, Evangeline is my heir. And he was like, yeah, I know that. But I'll do you one better. And he wanted to recognize Evangeline as his heir because he's never gotten to have one. Mm-hmm. And then this made me remember, like, his love, like, his partner died.
That's right.
And he never, got with anyone else. He never remarried.
Yeah.
He never adopted. He never had any kids.
Mm-hmm.
So he just, like, really connected with Evangeline for some reason.
Yeah.
So he wanted to pronounce her as his heir. Oh. So if he dies or if Terrasen still gets to live and Evangeline is there, she'll be an official lady of Terrasen.
It was not expected, and I loved this moment so much. Oh, yeah, I was weeping.
What did she say? I would like that very much.
She accepts her heirdom.
Oh my god.
So awesome.
It was just so sweet.
Also, thanks, Aelin, for, like, bringing these ladies along for the ride.
I know. These two, like, sad
Rifthold. A woman,
stories.
We thought, like, at the beginning, they just freaking hated each other. This is probably the craziest comeuppance.
I am so obsessed with Lysandra and her character. And I remember instantly when she was introduced again in Queen of Shadows, I remember, I like her this time. Like, the writing was just so good of, like, and then feeling bad for her. I was like, oh, why did we hate her in Assassin's Blade just because it was Aylin's POV, you know?
Her jealousy.
I loved that. So then I love this connection of that, like, they're both going to be ladies in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
If they survive this war.
I know. It's so amazing.
Just what a journey.
I know.
And
so good.
We get a little section. It always has to jump to someone depressing real quick before they end a chapter.
My girl.
They jump to Manon, who's sitting with Abraxas trying to sleep. The bone drums beat all night, which we learned this from Kale's dad.
Yep.
That when he fought 10 years ago and Aniel fell before,
mm-hmm.
he said, like, the night before they were defeated, they
went
beat
all
the
night.
drums all night to drive everyone crazy. So the second I saw that, I was like,
ooh, yeah, nice callback there.
She's thinking of Dorian, and then she's also thinking of, like, she was saying to Abraxas, I really would have liked to see the wastes. And that's all.
I love that they are always, like, touching each other now. Like, he's putting a wing over her, and she's just like...
Oh, God. 'Cause that's all they have is each other.
It's so sweet.
Where's Glennis?
Sleeping?
Where's my girl?
She needed some rest.
Any notes?
Well, just
Any
also...
tears?
Oh, I was weeping during that.
I know.
And just Evangeline's description of... what it means to her, what Terrazin means to her was, like, so amazing.
I know.
I mean, you have to have that because it's also, sometimes you are like, what are we fighting here for, you guys? I mean, there's an evil entity trying to, like, take over the world, but yeah, just the call home to Terrazin is, like, something you really feel here when you read it. And it's awesome.
Because I was always wondering, like, what's the point of attaching this child to Lysandra? And, like, she was there, but, like, then just tossed off to these old lords for 2 books. And then, like, she wasn't really around. So I was like, what was the point of Evangeline? And, like, this just brought it home of, like, in so many stories and movies and whatever, like, it's always that child's fresh, naive perspective that, like, sometimes brings the older generation back to Earth and, like, reminds them of something, reminds them of the youth or the hope or the next generation. And at this point I was like, oh my God, like, that's the point. She's the next generation, like,
of people, you know, like Lord Darrow, who doesn't have the magic or the power, but he's he's still a ruler.
His power,
and it's an ideal that you have to have. And so recognizing this fresh but also old ideal in Evangeline is what swayed him. Yeah, that's so great. It's so good because she's just, like, pure and just has nothing to fight for except for this home. So good. Yeah, what a great moment. And for all of them to have that together too, I was like, okay, Darrow redemption, I'll take it.
I know.
It's awesome.
A good character. It's like a very typical, like, older lord.
You just want to get rid of him and get over him.
Yeah.
But, like, this is so important, like,
he's
to have.
Stubborn for a reason, and he was so... With this, like, he took the sword because he was like, you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Like, it meant everything to him.
Yeah.
This place. And for him to hear that, like, this little girl who's never even lived here before, this also means everything to her. Like, he was like, oh, like... It, like, woke him.
I know.
It was just.
Yeah, it took Evangeline being around him and doing what, you know, following him and him getting to know her.
But she also just, like, wants to be a witch. So.
Well, maybe that will come into play in some capacity.
She wants to be a witch.
She'll be like, first act is all this land goes to the witch. She just hands it over to Manon.
No, she wants to go to the wastes.
Yeah.
I know. First act. That's so funny.
I know. Okay, so we continue on to 105, and we are in battle. We are battling. Blood rained over the battlefield is the first sentence of this chapter. Unfortunately, we learn that Morath has been holding back this whole time.
Who would have thought?
And we see more. Torrent of arrows. So, like, even before dawn, they released a bunch of arrows, and not even the Crokins could dodge. Great. they're just incredibly relentless. They have like not one, but a bunch of siege towers and siege ladders that are currently going up, and just like Marath soldiers are just like flooding now over the walls. Lysandra is a wyvern right now, and she's just like trying to pick them off one by one, and they're just unrelenting. Yeah, the Krokans are sort of faltering. The, aerial army positioning is weakening, and everyone's having a really tough time. She's insisting that they retreat to the walls, so she sounds the horn and she calls her aerial fleet back to the walls, back to the city. The Western Gate is not having a great time. The siege tower is ramming into it. The Western Gate is going to fall soon. Adian's sort of like a little rattled at this point. He's obviously in charge of rallying the troops, and Lysandra is even coming to him being like, I need you to give me an order for Manon and the witches. And he's like, he doesn't even know what to say. Soldiers are rushing at him, and I think he's just a little hopeless at this point.
Yeah.
So he has nothing to say to Lysandra about any orders, but all he can do is lean in and kiss her and tell her that he loves her, and she says, and I you, and they have this amazing sweet moment where again, like, he's ready to die today, I think, and he's like, I will find you in the next lifetime, in whatever life comes after this. And Lysandra says, in every lifetime. They turn towards the stairs that are going to lead them to their deaths. And suddenly another horn sounds. But it's not the horn of the enemy. It's not Manon's horn. It's coming from a different direction. And they all whirled in the direction of the sound. And Adian sees the Lord of the North, and more than that, Aelin on top of the Lord of the North, and they're galloping towards the battle.
He finally sees her.
Yeah, so Adian sees his cousin again for the first time, and that only comes with him realizing that she's alive, first of all, and she's not captive.
And then he was like, wait, oh.
And then there's another, and then the army, and then, so finally, we're about to enter into, well, everyone's POV in a single chapter.
The craziest chapter ever.
Yep. Aelin to the rescue.
Dude, like I said, I cannot. Anything that has to do with these two absolutely kills me.
All I wrote was like bottom of 843. Like, it was just so beautiful.
And before them, all riding on the Lord of the North was Aelin.
Oh my god.
Okay, 106 is jumping back in time real quick to Aelin and crew's POV of this, getting to this moment. So they marched for 6 days. My god. The Lord of the North.
Faster
and
than I thought.
Oh my gosh. And the little folk led them. No sleep.
Yay. No sleep. Another club.
What did I wrote so fast I cannot read this.
I can't read anymore.
When dawn had broken, the Lord of the North. I said North Lord.
Mine is LOTN.
North Lord. He offered himself as her mount. So she hopped on board. And Rowan had a moment of like, yeah. Uh-huh. Like, he always just knew that she would somehow find this moment.
They're like meant for each other.
Yeah. Dorian and Ghoul would lead the wild men on the right flank. The Cognate royals on the left with Sartak and Nezrin in the skies on the wrecks, and Aelin and Rowan with the cadre would lead the center.
With Bort above
Bort,
her.
Like, I wish she like looked down at Aelin like, you good? And then Aelin finally sees Orinth for the very first time again, and it was not cute.
Not as she remembers.
She was like, oh, this is rough. She was like, the beautiful white city that she remembered is now dirty and bloody and fallen apart.
The river's all black.
Yeah, the river is
sad.
But she sees all the Krokans, and Manon had
the got
moment
me too.
of her realizing, like, Manon did not break her promise, and she came through. So she unleashed a little bit of fire because she's so showboaty. Mm-hmm. And then they barreled toward Orinth. Ugh. And Bort is leading the Rex above Aelin.
Heck yeah.
And yeah.
The last part of this chapter in 848 and 849 is like some of my favorite It's one of my favorite moments.
Really?
Ever. Because there's no, like, there's no third person POV. Oh. It's literally just a description of one queen, Aelin, and like how she's leading her army, and the other queen, Manon, leading her army. So like the end of this whole chapter is like this cool, like them upholding their promises. Aelin, leading her charge, and then you hear a white-haired queen bellow, "Push, push, push!" And in these last chapters,
recognize that it wasn't even someone's specific point of view.
Yeah,
it was just...
I love just the queen atop the white stag did not balk with each gained foot toward the awaiting legions. In the city, along Orinth's walls, a white-haired queen bellowed, "Push, push, push!" And I was just like, I love this. It's sort of like painting the history books almost, like how it would be written in like times to come. I don't know, that's how I imagined it.
That's so deep.
I loved this little piece.
And it's like bringing these two queens back together again. Yeah. We haven't seen them sound the call. And I just like the idea of Lorcan like,
yeah. Yeah, Lorcan gets to do it.
Yay, Lorcan. I love him.
So good.
I love that his power is just always described as the blackest night or death or just pure black. Like, it's just always so like,
yep.
We don't know exactly what it is. The description's always just like darkness and death. Alrighty, this is the nuts chapter.
Okay, yeah, this is a little nutty. So we start off chapter 107 from Rowan's POV.
He loves his hatchet.
Oh yeah, and they've already gotten started here. So they're fighting the Valk soldiers. He's got his hatchet and his sword, and he's just going to town. He's on the Dargan horse, and he's trying to stay close to Aelin, who is clearly like itching for a fight here, itching for her battle. They know that Erewhon and Maeve can't be too far behind.
They're somewhere
close. He sees a witch fly by and get like torn to shreds. Her guts are everywhere. I mean, the descriptions are just like insane.
A little nuts.
Fenris and Lorcan are with Rowan. They lose sight of Aelin, and they also lose sight of Gavriel.
This is when I wrote, well, shit.
Which also, the first time I read this, I didn't catch that line that they...
You didn't?
No, not until I reread after knowing things. I read that and I was like, oh. I would have known if I read this right away. So anyway, it's 3 out of the 4. And they're fighting side by side, back to back as cadre.
Just the amount of like Avengers style poses I imagine for the 3 of them just absolutely kills me.
I know. There's a really nice moment for Rowan, who's thinking about his cadre, his brothers, and how many years they were together where they couldn't quite recognize each other as brothers. They always had a bond, obviously, but
it was a forced
bond, and they were meant to do like really terrible things for Maeve, and they were, slaves really that whole time.
Yeah, I liked what it said.
And now they have a home and a future together.
And they would do so again as cadre once more.
Yep.
But this time they would fight for their new court and their new home as brothers.
So good. And I also loved how he saw it in Fenris's eyes as he cut a soldier in two with a deep slice. And then he said he could see that vision of a future on Lorcan's raging face.
I was going to say, like, every moment you look over to Lorcan, it's like raging and anger and darkness and death.
I love him. Adian. So we're in Adian's point of view now, and he's like, holy crap, she escaped Maeve. She's alive. She's here. He sees Kale and Dorian leading the right flank, charging. They're together, and he's also realizing many realizations. This is like Kylie Jenner's like 2018 New Year's resolution.
Whoa.
Wait. You don't remember this?
What is it?
But it was just a short video of her sitting by a fire. And she's like, these are my New Year's resolutions. I think we talk about New Year's resolutions. And I just think this year is the year about like realizing things.
Realizing stuff. And I just want to realize.
We got there.
Okay, so
that's
sorry.
What I mean.
I'm here. Yes.
Because here's Adian being like, oh my God, Aelin's alive.
So
oh my God,
funny.
Dorian and Kale are together. Oh, Kale didn't fail us. He got this whole army for
Kale
us. Yay!
had not failed them.
And Lysandra is shifting into a wyvern, and she's following Manon and the Crokins toward the Iron Teeth Legion. And so Adian finally gets whipped back into shape here. He lets out a battle cry, and he heads toward the Western Gate.
Never go to the Western Gate.
Yep. He says at the end of his little POV, Aelin had come and it was enough. So I think he also
people die here.
He realizes something's still wrong for this war to still kind of be raging this way. Like Erewhon is probably, he realizes he's still around. Something went wrong with the plan, but she's here.
Then we jump to Dorian.
Dory.
I was nuts when I realized in that moment he said, Dorian's never seen battle before. And I was like, oh yeah. Like,
we remember. Dorian, we remember, has never seen battle. Yeah, because you think back to the end of the first book when even Chaol had never even killed anybody, and he was in the King's Guard.
Oh yeah, he was traumatized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he still was in this book.
I know.
When he meets the Wildman, he was like, I can't tell them that I killed her.
I know. Dorian and Chaol basically have this resolve, like, for Aderlyn. Chaol's kind of glancing up into the skies, like, I'm not gonna look but he doesn't see the 13.
He didn't see any of the 13.
And then we have Bort, who's covering Aelin from above, and that doesn't last very long because she, and I think, is it Nezrin or just Sartek and a couple others, get absolutely pummeled by 6 Iron Teeth and Wyverns. They just ram right into them. They go smashing to the ground, which is scary. And so anyway, so that leaves an opening for another huge bull to come at Aelin. So this huge wyvern is going to come, and he opens his jaws, and he's going to attack Aelin, and suddenly it loses its head because this giant spiked tail of none other than Lysandra's wyvern form saves Aelin by killing this other wyvern. And we know this because Aelin turns and she sees a wyvern with emerald eyes.
Bright green eyes.
And so we have another reunion. We have Lysandra and Aelin, which I've been looking forward to. And it's so sweet because it's just easy and just like, Aelin just says, well met, my friend. Shall we? Then we jump back to Rowan, who is going insane trying to find Aelin. And he's also trying to fight his way through here. He sees the Lord of the North, but no Aelin. And he's like, oh my God. And then Lorcan's like, hey, look over there. And Aelin, Ansel, or Aelin and Lysandra first are heading towards, there are 3 siege towers that are about to just like ram into the city. And so Aelin and Lysandra, I think Lysandra's a ghost leopard and Aelin's riding on her. They get to one of the towers. I'm not going to pretend to like say this it's like a lot in my head what actually goes down, but you can imagine it. So she goes up one of the towers,
fighting like all their way all the way up
to the tower, and then we also see Ansel climb up another tower, and we get this super cool callback to Assassin's Blade when Sam and Selena do the same thing at Skull's Bay. And so basically what they're going to do is help each other destroy the towers. So they face the catapults toward, I just don't know which ones are
towards
which.
each other. So
towards each other.
So if this is like 1, Aelin points the catapult towards 2, and Ansel points it towards 3, and then once they destroy those 2,
Lysandra uses, this was crazy. So they destroy what, Ansel somehow gets away. Aelin jumps Aelin jumps off of hers that's getting destroyed.
Yeah.
Lysandra picks her up with one talon foot, and with the other, she pulls the other catapult and destroys the 3rd tower.
Mm-hmm. I loved at the very end, Fenris just goes, yep, that's where she is.
Another cinematic moment where you can just see
the girlies.
The girlies.
Killing it.
These queens.
I love it. It just said like they all blinked too. I just really imagine like the...
Yep.
They're all just like a little...
These 3 Fae warriors watching these 3 women. Like, all warriors themselves.
Obsessed.
Just so freaking good. And then we get a little glimpse of Sartek, who is alive, which is great. And Nezrin is alive. And it seems that... So Sartek and Nezrin are fighting with the Cognite, the Rux up in the air. And they turn and they see a whole... Is this when it happens?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. They turn and they see a second whole ass army coming, complete with witches and wyverns. Ilkin. Well, we're about to learn some other creatures as well are all ready to go.
So they kind of like put together that like, oh,
we're trapped.
It
was a trap, and they've
to
trapped them against orange walls. Yeah.
Yay!
Oh my gosh! And then
look at this.
One last little baby moment here. The Western Gate finally opens up, and Morath's troops are just like absolutely plowing in. Adian and the Bane are trying their best to keep them at bay, but they're like really invading. They can't halt the flow that surged over them because they're coming up over the walls everywhere. Then suddenly, we also see some Valak princes show up too, which is awesome. Lots of them. It says they have to get the gate shut. Suddenly they see this giant wyvern come crashing towards the gate. And when you're reading this, you're thinking, oh, this is bad. Like a wyvern is going to come just like eat everyone inside of here. But no, the wyvern stops right in the gate and almost like plugs it up. And then suddenly we see, the dead witch on the wyvern, and then we see none other than Gavriel hop off this wyvern. He had flown it at least part of the way over here, which is crazy.
Like this dead wyvern? Like what?
Well, I guess he would have just had to have just flown around with them and killed them at the right time. Crazy.
I know.
So he has officially sealed off the passageway, and Adian just recognizes him as his father, and that's that. That's it.
I don't want to talk about this next drama.
I know. This must have been because you read ahead of me, or you read before me, and this must have been what you meant when you were like. I
was like, did you read anything sad?
And it's all sad.
You're like, I think so. Isn't it all kind of sad? Anyway. Chapter 108. Gavriel's first words to him is, "Are you hurt?" So I wrote, "Oh dear God." This is when I knew.
Yep.
And so they don't even have time for like a nice embrace. Like they kind of stare each other down. And they're both like, what are you doing here? Like, get away. You have to leave.
I know.
But then Adian says, we need to get the gate closed again. And Gavriel just says, then we should shut them together.
Oh.
And there's also a quote. I keep writing bullshit because it just kept making it worse. It said, but whatever would come after, should they survive together, they would do it together. Gavriel, his father, he had come, and looking at his eyes, Adian knew it was not just for Aelin or for Terrasin, but that his father had come for him. Adian rasped, together, not just this obstacle and not just this battle, but whatever would come afterward, should they survive together.
I love it so much.
They went to get into position along with the Bane, and right as Adian went to look over to his side to like get a nice little glance at his father, he noticed Gavriel was not there. Instead, he noticed Gavriel was walking directly towards the gate.
Yeah.
Alone. And he threw up his magic shield and kept walking towards the gate. And then he walked through the gate, and his shield was pushing the Morath soldiers back through the gate. And he turns around and he looks at Adian and he just goes, close the gate, Adian. And so the Bane wastes 0 fucking seconds.
And they're like,
you got it. And they close the gate in like record time. And Adian starts screaming.
Yep.
And crying. But he like freezes. He like can't really do anything. Yeah. He's just screaming and he's crying and he's screaming no. And then so now that the gate is closed, they see a flash of light and then just darkness. So then Adian finally like kind of comes to, and he runs up the wall and is like jumping over dead bodies and like piles of bodies and all of this stuff. So he kind of like climbs up the wall to be able to like look beyond the gate.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just seeing piles and piles of bodies. And he's kind of almost like, wait, how long was I like kind of frozen for?
Yeah.
Because he was like, how did he do this? Like, all like there's just piles of bodies.
I know.
And
maybe he did turn into a lion.
Maybe. And then he finally spots Gavriel's golden hair, and he sees that his throat has been ripped out.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's dead.
Gavriel.
His father.
Aww. It's so sad.
Out of all people.
I think out of all people, I'm the most okay with this.
He died without ever getting the blood oath. He didn't get to be with his son that he always wanted to be with so badly.
But I think...
And now Adian's just going to have worse daddy issues.
Adian will be a daddy soon. And it will be okay. I know. No, it's horrible. And I cried. But also, I've seen the line, close the gate, Adian, before. Remember way back when I predicted that I thought Rowan was going to die?
This is what you thought it was?
I could have sworn I remembered reading, and Rowan said, like, close the gate, Adian, or something. Like, I don't know. Or maybe it was pictures in the text or something, and I thought it was Rowan.
And it looked like Rowan.
Yeah, because I was so sure.
Oh my God.
So, and it was like a sad kind of thing. And I was like, oh. So I read this, and I was like, oh. It's Dad.
We got another Hodor moment.
Oh, yeah. Another one.
So we jump to Rowan POV, who's still fighting and still looking for Aelin, but he sees that things have kind of suddenly gone like still over by the western gate. So eventually he fights his way over there, and he finds Gavriel. God, the quotes that he says at this part absolutely ruined me. He said, I hope you found peace, my brother, and in the afterworld, I hope you find her again.
I know.
So is that Adian's mother?
Yeah.
Anyway, so he grabbed Gavriel's body, and he's climbing up the siege ladder, and then as he's walking through the town or like the city, I can't really like picture what's over the wall. I don't know. But it said like silence fell as Rowan like walked with Gavriel over his shoulder. And God, like these quotes, like Gavriel also had been his family even when he had not realized it. And then he sees Adian, and Adian just he's like in full denial. And Adian just keeps saying, like, he should have stayed. He could have stayed. So then they see that more soldiers are now on their way, along with 6 spider/Valg princesses.
Woohoo!
And we also learn that Rowan can't shift or really use his magic right now because he got shot with an iron arrow, and a shard of the iron is stuck in his shoulder. So he takes out his knife, and he starts digging it out of his shoulder.
Yum.
That's all.
How awesome.
Yeah.
Gavriel's death was not in vain because he did like basically re-secure the wall or the gate entirely with the not only the wyvern but
all the dead bodies,
all the soldiers that he defeated in the process of walking out. So Rowan's reaction hit me really hard, obviously. Because, he knows him even better than Adian, you know? And, like, shall we move on from this? But, him slicing himself open is... I'm like, there couldn't be another way. So, Chaol and Dorian are riding into Orinth. Night is going to fall soon. I assume join others to, like, get some rest after a day of battle. And they're nearing the walls, and they're hearing that there is a warning going out. And the warning is telling them that soldiers are now racing at them with a newfound sense of urgency. Morath is now picking up speed rather than letting them, have a night. And so Kale and Dorian look at each other and they're like, well, they turn around and they go right back to the battlements.
I like that they're trying to kind of joke with each other a little bit, though. Yeah. They're so cute.
Literally just happy they're back with each other.
So cute.
They're like, they'll face anything as long as they're with each other. It's so funny. We learned that Ansel survived we weren't sure when they took down the siege towers. And so luckily she's alive. She's with Aelin and she's being healed because she has a pretty bad gash in her arm. Bad enough that she can't like wield a blade or hold a weapon. A healer is trying to help Aelin and she's like, go help someone who needs it.
Why was she sassy?
I know.
She was like, yeah, go heal someone who actually needs it.
Yeah, I know. They need to get into the city before they shut the gate. And Aelin's like, yeah. Dargan horse comes by to pick people up, to like take them into the city basically. And Aelin manages to get Ansel on the horse and just sends her on her way. And Ansel like kind of barely protests. It seems that Aelin does not have plans to into the city at all quite yet. She's staying outside the walls, kind of looking at the skies, trying to spot Rowan, but she doesn't see him, and she's convincing herself like, okay, that's a good thing. This is my purpose. This is what I've been training for, and all this has led up to.
But so she did note that like she still felt the mating bond, so she knew he was good.
Yeah.
But she was like, but I don't know where any of the others are. I wonder if they're okay.
Yep, now I'm going to do this, whatever this is.
They were not okay.
Nope. For one last time, she starts telling herself the story of her life.
So that's my life. I hope you enjoy.
That's my life. Irene and Elide are just assessing the situation. It seems to be getting much, much crazier. She's trying her best to heal people. Messengers were approaching, giving them the news about the new army, and especially the spiders / Valk princesses. Irene is just thinking there's not enough to face this. She's wondering where Kale is, and now they're with Darrow, who Irene does not know yet, and Darrow is sort of discussing this with them. Elide's trying to desperately tell Darrow, do you even know like what's about to happen here? Because I do. And Irene realizes, okay, this is Erewhon coming towards them.
It did take a note that Darrow kind of recognized Elide.
Yes.
When he walked up to her.
Oh, yeah. That's right. And
this was also the first time that Irene is seeing Lysandra.
I know, yeah. Lysandra arrives. She shapeshifts and she greets Elide and gives her a big hug. Lysandra, Kale had called her a lady in Aelin's court.
They hear the order that Rowan and Adian are giving to like tell anyone that can to just try and evacuate.
Yeah.
This is bad news bears.
Yeah. So Lysandra is telling Darrow, like, we need to evacuate. Do you know the way? Darrow is not helpful, and he's like, no route is going to allow anyone to escape in time. And Lysandra's like, we just have to try. And we learn for sure Maeve and Erewhon are approaching. An army behind them that we know is 20,000 strong. And as they're like losing all hope, Evangeline looks out and she's like, oh my God, look everyone. And there's Aelin stepping right in front of the city walls, right in front of Erewhon and Maeve. And we are about to face the standoff of a lifetime. Lysandra's like, she's got no magic left. Like, what are they going to do? Even so, around them, the soldiers and everyone is starting to say, like, oh, the queen has come. The queen has come to hold the gate. Hodor.
The queen is coming. Chapter 110. Yeah, she did it again. She would not be afraid. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. So finally, Maeve and Erewhon halt before Aelin, and she knows that she won't have long until they realize that her magic was gone. But she had made it home, and it was enough. Just the same that Adian had thought.
Yeah. But Aelin was there.
So she was just happy that she at least made it here. She made it to home. And this is as far as she has planned to get. So even if she could never survive against both of them, she wanted to give all the soldiers and everyone hope. So her just standing there and facing them one-on-one at least is hoping that it will give them all the will to keep fighting. Erewhon brings up that isn't it funny, or is it fate that like brought us together in Rifthold and we didn't recognize each other, we didn't know each other. And that brought me way back. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot that Selena met Parrington, and that's who these two people are now. And like
even before she met the king, like it's who she thought was the big bad, and we had no idea.
Kaltain was just like with this fat old man.
He was just there.
He was just gross.
So crazy. Yeah.
I was just like, oh, you'd have to bring all that up. Oh my God. Aelin tries to drop the bomb to Erewhon that Maeve was always planning on betraying him. And she revealed that she has tried to gather like soldiers of healers. And we all know now that Erewhon is scared of healers. And this was something that Maeve knew all along. And so she brought up, like, ask her about the owl she always keeps with her. It's a healer. Yeah. It's one of the strongest healers, and that's why she keeps it with her at all times. So Aelin's just trying to drop doubt onto Erewhon.
Only spitting facts.
So they take turns just trying to, like, unnerve each other and, like, throw shit at each other.
It's very shady and very, like, sassy, and I'm like, I was not expecting this to go this way.
And then so she also drops the bomb of that, like, this one was kind of a lie, because this wasn't part of Maeve's plan necessarily. Yeah. But she's trying to say, like, if you go into that city, like, you're just walking into a trap. There are 200 plus of the most magical healers waiting inside that city, and they are just waiting for you. And she, like, kind of noted that, like, you can, like, he's starting to like still a little bit. Yeah. And he was like, wait, shit, what?
He really does like start to kind of.
That's question. Why Tower of Dawn is just so good.
Yeah.
Of like, it puts into the perspective learning about how we learn so much information about the darkness and the Valg and what all that is.
Word marks and all that.
Yeah, but then we're also in the Taurus,
Yep.
The
Tower of
Dawn. That these are all the healers, and once we start seeing Yrene actually use this magic, her magic looks like light. Yeah. And it just like starts to put into this perspective. It's literally just darkness versus light. And as we're gonna come to learn, I guess, is that like it's not Aelin and her fire that's the light against.
Yeah.
The darkness and Erewhon. It's Yrene and the healers and their light.
So good.
And it's just like,
thanks, Kale.
I know. Anyway, so then they bring up the fact that she was like, all the gods are dead, they're all gone, blah 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 blah. And then Maeve says there are no gods left to watch over you, no gods left to help you now, Aelin. And Aelin just smiles, holds her sword, and it's burning brighter than ever. She points it at Maeve and goes, I am a god. Ugh. And then they start fighting.
She unleashed herself upon them. There's a couple of great quotes. My other favorite, that is iconic.
Yeah.
But then I also loved when Maeve asked her, how is it that you survived? Meaning closing the gate. And Aelin said, I learned to share. Aelin purred after all this time. It's so good.
I know. They were so sassy to each other.
I mean,
it was
just
hysterical.
Unfortunately, like not evenly matched, but just like the only person who would stand up to them this way. It's like great to finally have this.
Jump over real quick to the Rowan POV of him pulling the iron shard out of his soldier. And he's just waiting for it to heal as more soldiers start coming over the walls again.
Yep.
And he just starts hearing screaming and seeing people flee.
Like women and children.
Yeah, people are like panicking because this is the first time the soldiers have now finally really got through the wall and are in the city. And Rowan's panicking because he wants to get back to Aelin. He needs to help her every once in a while. They started fighting already, so he sees darkness and then fire. Yeah. And so he knows she's alive, but won't last long.
Yeah.
And he's really torn because she needs his help, but the people in here need her help too. And this beautiful moment of he looks at Fenris and Lorcan, and they all nod to each other, and they know they need to help their queen, but the one oath she ever gave them was that they were sworn to protect Terrasen and its people, so they decided to stay and fight inside the city walls to protect Terrasen.
Such a hard choice, especially for Rowan, who this whole time has just been looking for her, and all he cares about is helping her.
I know, but that was really pretty.
I love that moment.
this
Lorcan
is the
too.
one oath she ever asked, you know? And
yeah,
then it jumps real quick over to the Allied POV of she's watching this battle that started back up between the armies, and then also watching Aelin, Erewhon, and Maeve fighting. And she's kind of stuck because there's truly nothing she can do.
Yeah.
And she remembers what Anith,
I love that.
always, she's like, remembers that she doesn't have that voice anymore that's been following her whole life because all the gods are dead.
Yeah.
But she did remember what she always told her. And the main thing she always heard her whispering to her was see. She was like, you just gotta look, like just see. And so she's looking around and she looks to Yrene, and she knew Aelin would never ask this of Yrene and everyone directly, but smart little old Allied, in that moment, she figured out, she's like, I know what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, come with me.
Okay, we'll just jump right into 111 then. So we start off with Nesrin, who is facing the Ilkin for the first time. And she's like, even a few dozen of these are pretty terrible. And she was not expecting it. They're nimble and vicious, and they're just like absolutely annihilating. Sartak has given the order to unleash like all these burning arrows, all the ones they could find, and the Ilkin are just like absolutely killing everyone. The Valk princesses are now here, and Nesrin knows that this is bad. Erewhon's final surprise. This is now their desperate final push. We also do learn that luckily Bort and Euron and Falcon are all alive. We saw them go down pretty hard at the beginning of this battle. But then we're left with a thought from Nesrin where, well, none of them are likely to survive this.
Yay.
So awesome. And then we switch over to Irene's point of view, and she is riding along with Allied on Lyssandra's back as a ruck, and they fly to the walls where Kale and Dorian are fighting. And the second Kale sees Yrene there, he's like, get back into the castle. And she just doesn't even like pay him any mind, and she goes right up to Dorian, and she's like, I have need of you, your majesty. And he doesn't hesitate. He's asking her what it is. We don't know what it is yet, but you know, they're insistent on having his help in whatever they're about to do. And Kale is just like, absolutely not. Like, you can't. He's grabbing her face, and he's like, you can't do this. Oh my God. Yrene just like drops the sweetest line of this entire series and says to him, you are my joy. So he clings to her, she clings to him, and she smells home like when she's with him, and it's so sweet.
Yeah, the quotes
and
here
then he
are
opens
nice.
his eyes and he tells her, go save the world, Yrene. And they kiss. He asks Dorian to keep her safe, and Dorian of course says, with my life. And it's just like the best.
I liked because that was in her POV.
Yeah.
So when he said, please keep her safe, she also noted, like, perhaps this is the only order he would ever give his king.
Oh, yeah, that was a great moment. Yeah.
Ugh.
Unfortunately, Manon is not having an easy time. The new horrors, Morath unleashed, the Ilkin amongst them. She's just hearing screaming, and she's sort of thinking, geez, the hope Aelin has brought is kind of, like, short-lived.
Already gone.
Lorcan felt Maeve's presence immediately, and he also now knows that Gavriel is dead, and he does admit to like a twinge in his heart at the news. He knows that Erewhon is with Maeve, and like the cadre all like kind of turn to each other, and Rowan just shifts into a hawk and like flies away.
They all kind of do like a nod, so they know something that we still don't know.
Yeah, they all nod to each other. Rowan shifts, and then Fenris shifts into wolf form and says, we finished this together.
Does Lorcan feel left out?
I think he might have some bat wings in there. Just saying. Anyway.
Whoa.
Even Lorcan is going to join his friends and his brothers, and he runs for the gate. He'd come to hope, had found there was something better out there, someone better. And then I love this description Aelin gives here of like it just being a dance. So like she has trained for this her whole life, and she is the assassin in this moment, and it's like all of her original training coming into play. And
because she's not trying to defeat them right now, she's just trying to distract.
Yeah, trying to distract and stall. But then suddenly
he's worried.
Erewhon like looks up, and he's like, there are healers in there. And Maeve's like, no shit. Like Erewhon sort of it gets picked up by an Ilkin and then like flies up over the walls into the city.
I imagine him going like,
is Irene up there?
And he feels her.
Ready? And like she's emitting. Yeah.
The plan definitely was always Aelin wanted to separate Erewhon and Maeve.
Yeah. Okay, we're at the end finally. Jesus. So that was interesting. And then at the end, it's just Maeve and Aelin. And Aelin says, that's how I wanted it. But then Maeve says, but I know your secret, Heir of Fire. Do we know the secret?
That she doesn't have her magic anymore.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's pregnant.
That's why she calls her the Heir of Fire specifically, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
She could tell throughout like their little dancey dance that she doesn't have her full power anymore.
And I guess she's the only one who has really witnessed that. Like Erewhon has never even been around her, really.
Plus also all those months torturing her. She kind of knew. We know from Maeve's time with Dorian and Morath that she can kind of sense people's magic. So she can sense on Aelin that she does not have her full magic anymore.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. I was like, is this some sort of cryptic thing that...
We don't know yet.
These are Isabel socks, I just realized.
Oh my God, how cute.
I know.
Wow, you're matching.
It was funny to hear that title.
Yeah.
Because I was like, whoa, flashback.
Heir of Fire.
An unbelievable amount happened in that set of chapters, and it's all in one place.
Important.
It is.
And it's not even the last 100 pages. What is next week going to be like?
I know. I feel like there's so much left.
That needs to wrap up.
Yeah. I'm so interested now.
I'm interested what the end is going to be. Is it going to be like, not a cliffhanger because nothing else comes after this, but like.
That we know of.
Is it truly. Like, do they all, like, who's ever left? Or who else dies? But, like, who's ever left? Like, do they all, like, then, all done, Terrason's happily ever after? Like,
what is the world going to look like? They all have to go home?
Yeah, are they all going to separate now?
I guess.
Like, where's Kale?
They all have to rebuild the world.
Dorian still hasn't been the Rifthold. So they're all just going to be separated? Dorian, Kale, and Irene are going to go over to Rifthold and...
They've done it before. Well, yeah, what is Irene going to want to do? Is she going to want to go to Rifthold? Yeah. Better than Annie L, but that's probably where they would have to go.
They're not going to Annie L. Well, his dad's still alive. He didn't die.
Oh, yeah. I'm shocked about that.
Yeah.
Who was your pick of the week?
Fangirl questions of the week.
Fan Ghoul questions of the week.
My pick of the week would have to be Gabrielle.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, that's huge. The amount of Morath army that would have gotten in there, first of all.
Yeah.
Had he not done what he did, they'd be doomed. More doomed than they already are.
Yeah.
No, I'm so
Who's
sad.
your pick of the week?
Honestly, I'm usually, like, I just have to go the way of the little folk. I love them. Like, actually, though, if that and the Lord of the North, but mostly the little folk, because, I mean, think about it. If it weren't for them, they never would have made it. What was your ghoulish gripe this week?
I already keep saying that I literally can't stand anything that keeps happening with Adie and Lysandra. They've just been getting absolutely destroyed since page 1 of this book. Aid and Liz. So now I'm just pissed that Adie now has this additional
grief,
like Murtaugh first.
Oh yeah,
and then like it's just these two characters. I can't read anything else about them. I cannot handle it. I just need them to have their.
I can't wait for them to get
happy ending. Oh my God.
I can't wait for them to get a nap, like get to sleep for
real. Yeah. What about you?
Well, it was my fantasy last week, and it didn't come true. And so my ghoulish gripe is that I didn't have any sort of Dorian and Manon reunion.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even see each other.
Well, that means we're going to get it in the last 100 pages. What if they just never, like, there's not a single...
Like, he goes back to Adderlid, and she goes to the Wastes, the end.
They don't even interact at all. Would you be so pissed off?
I will literally try and find someone to give me a lobotomy so that I forget that's what I read. What's your fangirl fantasy for next week?
I can't wait.
I mean, yeah. the end. I keep forgetting.
I know this is gonna be it. Wait, we can't do a fangirl fantasy next week.
I mean, it can lead into like our
hopes and
other
dreams.
discussions.
Yeah, a lot of fantasies I have for this wrap up. It's nuts. I'm excited about Falcon. And and Lysandra.
Yep.
And I want
totally
the royal wedding.
The royal wedding. Oh my god! I swear to God. Yeah.
What's your fantasy?
I agree
for the last chunk.
I can't believe it. Has and always will be that. Well, I want Dorian and Manon to reunite truly, and I want Manon. I want them to confess their feelings for one another, and I want them to have an understanding that they'll always only have each other. But I also want them to go to their respective like places and rule as they want to. And I just want Manon to have like kinship again. And I hope she can. Maybe she will find that with Ansel. Maybe she'll work it out with her. But especially she'll have it with the Crokins, Petra and Bronwyn and Glennis. So I'm glad she's not alone.
Yeah.
And she'll remember that soon enough.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, this was
oh my God, we're gonna be
a journey. I know. I'm just like, I can't believe it. I don't think I've ever read anything consecutively for this long.
Yeah.
Like Harry Potter, we read as they came out.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Anyway.
Next week is our last chapter chunk.
We'll be reading this week. We are going to be reading chapters 112 through the end. I think there is a like final chapter called A Better World or something. So this one
will be 12 chapters.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't want to finish. Oh my God.
I know. We have a week. We have a week.
Enjoy finishing Throne and Glass.
I know.
This meeting of the Fan Ghouls Club is adjourned.
Yay! Bye.
Gabriel.
R.I.P. Murtaugh too?
No.